Good evening. Welcome to Wednesday Workshop Live with Build a Quilt. Hi, everybody. I'm Diana. Excuse me. I have a frog in my throat. Excuse me. Welcome to Wednesday Workshop. So glad that you could be with us. Please go ahead and sign in over in the comments. Not sign in, but introduce yourselves over in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. We've got a lot to get through this evening, but we're going to have a lot of fun together. I can't wait to share with you tonight regarding special block placement. Last week we talked about fussy cutting for our Easiest Quilt Along Ever, and tonight we're going to talk about placement with our Easiest Quilt layout. So I'm going to be showing you the layout. I'm not giving you all the information yet. Excuse me, now I have an itch. It's been a crazy day around here. I'm not going to share with you all of the information yet because we're still building that quilt. You can see behind me all of my blocks so far, except for the two I have sitting here from last week, which I will show you here in a little while. Easiest quilt you'll ever make, and you're learning techniques as we go, which is the fun part of quilting. So you don't have to worry about, can I do this? This is going to end up being a gorgeous quilt, and we're doing it in a very simple way. You're learning things, and next time you make another quilt, you'll learn new things. So we like to do it that way. That way nobody feels overwhelmed when they do a quilt with us. So let me just take down that banner because I'm starting to get dizzy. Please go ahead and introduce yourselves in the comments, and we will get started. Oh, I am so sorry. Here, let me take a drink of water. Maybe it'll go away. It's been a crazy week. Friday, it's due to be 75 degrees here. That's like late May, early June weather for us, or at least it used to be. Nowadays, it's more like, well, now it's going to be March 14th weather for us, 75 degrees. That's warm. I'm so itching to get in the garden. I've got seedlings planted now indoors. I start my seedlings indoors hydroponically, and then I move them out into the greenhouse and outdoors after the last frost. No, in case you're wondering, I do not get a lot of them that die off because I use a little mycorrhizal root stimulant when I transplant them. That kind of helps them get through any shock from going from a water environment into the dirt, and they seem to love it. So I'm very excited about that. And so we've been working on some of that this week, and we were going to put we have a greenhouse that's actually a big hoop house greenhouse. We were going to put it up Saturday, and now we're due to get like 2 inches of rain on Saturday. So that'll probably be next week because it's still going to be warm next week, like in the 60s. So lots going on around here. And of course, build a quilt. So tonight I've got a share with you from one of our friends, one of our Build a Quilt friends. She sent me a picture of her completed top for last month's mini quilt, the folded star mini quilt. She sent me the top. I'm going to share that with you, but I'm not, well, let's see. Should I share it first? Yeah, I want to share it first, and then we're going to bring it back in a little bit later because it goes also with our idea of like thinking about special blocks in our quilts. She didn't know that. It's our good friend Sue, who's always with us. So thank you so much, Sue. In fact, let's go ahead and bring this up onto the screen here. Thanks for sharing, Sue. This is Sue's folded star mini quilt from February 2025. Let's all give her a round of applause. Didn't it turn out beautifully? Now, the mini quilt, as you saw it, we talked about going from lightest to around to darkest. Sue didn't do that. Sue did what I keep explaining to you guys. She used what she had. So she chose all the different blues she had. Now you can't see it in this picture. That's my fault. But all of these had little bitty prints and were slightly different colors. So she did a beautiful job. And she did this lighter color in her sashing. And I think it just turned out glorious. You can see all 9 of her little 8-pointed stars. It's just, Sue did an absolutely beautiful job. So I can't thank her enough for sharing the photograph with me. And I'm going to bring it back up again later, like I said, because this can also lend it to some special block placement. We'll talk about that a little bit more as we go through the evening. But thank you so much, Sue, for sending that to us. I appreciate it. It's truly lovely. I love the blues. I did mine in the greens and purples. I love these blues. I think if she did this as a full quilt, like if she took that, so that finishes out at 27 and a half inches. If she did like 3-4 rows across and down and made a full quilt with that, it would be so glorious, wouldn't it? I just love it. But she's got a beautiful mini quilt there on her hands. Again, thank you so much, Sue, for sending that in to me. Excuse me. All righty. So the first thing I want to do tonight now is I don't have a meme for us tonight. I'm sorry, guys. I just couldn't find anything that I love sharing them with you guys, but I don't want to share something if it's like, and that's kind of where things were tonight. So I will try to find a better scenario of memes for us next week for sure, because they are fun. But I do want to spend some time talking about the March mini quilt. So this pattern came out on Monday. If you are, I'm trying to get it so you guys can see the whole thing. There we go. If you guys are part of the Quilt Lab subscription service, you received an email with your code so that you could go and get this at through your subscription. If you are not part of the Quilt Lab subscription, we'd love to have you. It's not too late. You'll still get the free pattern from February, which was the one I just showed you from Sue. You were able to do that 2 ways, and that information all came with it. And you would get this one, and you'll just move along with us throughout the rest of the year. But this is called Bloom, and I have been itching to do this quilt. I have had this quilt basically digitized for us since like August. But I didn't want to bring it out then because we were moving into fall, and this is very spring, right? Very much a spring little mini quilt. And I love how this one is rectangular. So it really, and the bloom, it's the part, right? It's the thing. You don't need anything special with this because that bloom is what that little quilt is all about. You still have your stem and your leaves at the bottom. These blocks right here that make the stem are very easy. In the how-to video, which is available on the YouTube channel already for everyone to see, I walk you through how to make this super simple. It's just the way we make all our other blocks. I know it looks like it could be more difficult because it's got this point and it's kind of odd shapes. It's just as simple as the rest. You get your pre-cut information for cutting rectangles, basically is how this is made. You do 1 trimming on this side and 1 trimming on this side before you do the 2 side pieces. It's super simple to do, guys. Don't let that stand in your way. And the how-to video is right at the machine. You see exactly what I'm doing with it. So don't let that worry you. If you've started doing anything with Build a Quilt, trust me when I tell you, you can do that block and make those leaves. And so I added cornerstones to this one. I think cornerstones really make a quilt, especially a mini quilt that isn't going to have a lot going on in a border and stuff or a lot going on with sashing. I think the cornerstones really finish off a quilt. I love them, and especially with this. And we just matched these to the leaves and the stem. Now the bloom, I know it's hard to see, but this yellow fabric has teeny tiny little pink pin dots. And this flower reminds me, one of my favorite flowers are tulips. They're not my favoriteest, sorry. But Dave and I, used to live out in Washington State, and we used to live up in the Skagit Valley for a long time. Well, actually, we lived on Whidbey Island, which is just right adjacent to the Skagit Valley. But we claim it. Hopefully they claim us because it's a beautiful area. The most beautiful tulip fields you will ever see in your life outside of Holland. they're like compared that way. They're truly spectacular. Lots of flower farms up there, just glorious in the springtime. And tulips always come in around my birthday in April. And I just love going to see them. And there's a deep kind of a magenta one that I love, but there is a yellow one that it's like yellow in the background, and it has like this pinky peach that goes up around the edges and up around the tips of the tulip. And it's a little bit more of a wild shape than how this is like kind of a traditional tulip shape. And it is a glorious flower. I mean, it is truly glorious. It's like looking at the sunset right as it's going from yellow to pink, where they kind of mix. That's what that flower looks like to me. And so I chose this yellow fabric with this little pink dot on it. When you look at it, not in the camera, you can really see it. It's very pretty. I chose another small print for the stem, leaves, and our cornerstones that represent, really, this is very true to the green on tulip leaves. So I wanted to get them kind of accurate to their real color. So this quilt I want to share with you is the bloom is made from four blocks. They're made exactly the same way, and depending on how you rotate them, that puts the little flippy corner in the right place. This is an offset half square triangle. So if it were right down the center there, it would be half square, but we've taken that half and we've bumped it up a little bit so we have more color. You can use solids or prints. If you have a print that you love that's really busy, would be glorious in this, because you're going to get a real mixture of color, a real textured look there. And excuse me. And a tip is you can do this block and this block the same, and this block and this block in a different color if you want kind of a two-tone look to it as well. And those blocks, those offset half square triangles, is this block. We made these last year in a project, but I love them. They're so nice for moving them or helping you to create shapes. So they are the perfect block for making this bloom shape. Let me check. We've got some folks checking in with us. Hi, Sue. Sue, I already showed your picture, but I'm bringing it back at the end because little did you know, it goes with tonight's subject on special block placement. So we're going to show your beautiful mini quilt from February. Again, it turned out so well, Sue. Everyone will be inspired when they see it because you did a beautiful job on it. Your 9 little 8-pointed stars are perfect. It's a glorious little quilt. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. And we have our friend Ruth here calling from the emergency room in Lake Stevens. No, that's not good, Ruth. I'm so sorry. I hope everything is going to be okay, dear. I'm so sorry. If you need to go away, we completely understand. But please let us know how you're doing, or how I hope you're going to be okay. Please let me know how you're doing. I will worry now until I know. But thank you for joining us right now. Gosh, I hate to hear that. But this is that offset half square triangle. If I put it in here, see how this would change if I used like a different color here and here and have that two-tone effect. But this is super simple to make. It's basically making a half square triangle, but the second half is just tiny. So in your pattern set, you get your digital design for this. You get your digital design for the rectangles, which make the border and your stem. And then you get the digital design for the left-hand leaf and the right-hand leaf. There are 2 different leaf designs in there so that you can get them going in the right direction. Unlike this block where you make it the same every time and you rotate it and it turns out to be in the right spot, that doesn't happen with this. So you'll make one left-hand, one right-handed one. And then you also get the little cornerstone design in there as well, plus all of your written instructions with your coloring sheet and all of that. And we will be talking about quilting, doing the finished quilting on this later in the month. Okay. So that is called Bloom. Let's see. Ruth says, I fell at the grocery store and just waiting for an x-ray to come back. Ruth, no, I hope you have not broken something. That is just not good, Ruth. You know, you guys know I am a total klutz. So Ruth, my heart goes out to you because I have landed in the emergency room from falling in the grocery store before myself because I'm a total klutz. And I did break something when I fell, so I hope you haven't. I'm so sorry to hear that. So sorry, my friend. So Bloom. Now, I got an email. I got an email from someone. No, it was an email. It was a comment. And I loved it saying, is there a daisy too? From one of our good friends, because I think her sister likes daisies. There is not a daisy bloom yet, just the tulip. But I have put that on my wish list of things to make. It's very possible that I can come up with a design that will end up giving us a daisy as well, because I think daisies are beautiful. They're like a very happy, cheery little flower. So I'll look into that. But right now, there's not a daisy. I would like to end up doing like a whole series of these blooms, and we could do like a much bigger wall quilt. Maybe that will come. Maybe we'll do them over time, and then we'll have them as a quilt, because I love big, beautiful flower quilts hanging in the house. Hi, Linda. How are you, dear? I just saw you pop in there. So glad to have you with us this evening. So, but this is Bloom. The pattern is available over at the website. I'll share that information at the end. But if you are a Quilt Lab subscriber, you have already received an email from me with your code in it to go and download that. And I know several of you have already. And I really want to see pictures of this one, because I can't wait to see what you guys do with the Bloom and what kinds of fabrics you are going to do. I was looking at some of my Tula Pink fabric the other day, and there is one that has so many different colors in it. I would absolutely love to do this again. And I have a dear, dear, dear friend. She and her partner, he is a former chef, and their ultimate goal, they want to open a restaurant. But right now they have started their own flower farm. She brought me flowers a couple times last year. They're just gorgeous. I love them. And she knows how much I love flowers. So I don't think she will see this video, but I want to make this for her in a slightly larger size. I want to put like 4 of them together, I think, and make that for them for the wall of their little flower farm and their little farmhouse. I think they'll like that. Or maybe we'll come up with 4 different ones. Alrighty. So if you are a Quilt Lab subscriber, also your finished quilting design for this will come out at the end of the month. And there will also be an additional digital design that comes with it to make this a different size. It's a design for the leaf that is a different size, so that you can make this even bigger if you want to. So that's coming out for you guys at the end of the month. I wanted to let you all know that. Alrighty. So let's do quickly, before we get into our placement. Let's see. No, let's go ahead and start. So we're going to do our placement for special blocks. And by that, I mean like the fussy cut blocks we talked about last week. But let me show you my 2. What did I do with it? This is my block that went with this card. Now, this fabric here, I actually used, can you see it back here? I don't think you can see it, but oh, it's right on that one right there. I used this fabric in a block I did last week. Does it matter? Absolutely not. Those blocks won't touch one another. They won't be near one another. So when you're doing your cards, folks, if you have fabric you've already used, but that color comes up again in the card, feel free to reuse it. There's not a problem in the world. I mean, we probably don't have an endless supply of different fabrics. So if you need to mix and match your fabrics when they come up in the cards, do that for sure. And I will just make sure they're not close to each other. They're maybe not in the same place. Like on that one, I know I intended it for to be here. On this one, I'll make sure it's down here. But this pink, so see this pink with that little dot? It is from the same collection as this yellow with the little pink dot. But that little dot in there is, sorry, I've got a little fan on because it's like, it's well over 70 degrees in this room and I'm like this. It is that little dot in here is this color. And so it's this color with that color little dot. That couldn't have been more perfect. It's almost like raspberry sherbet and raspberry ice cream together. I love it. And then this one is just a little mini check, a little mini gingham. And it is that this taupe color. And then this one, this is, I think, a Lori Holt from one of her collections, a fat quarter collection that I have. But see how well that matches. And this is called Marigold. How perfect. Spring flowers, marigolds. And so that, oh gosh, I'm dropping everything. That is that block. I really like how it turned out for sure. And then the other block was this one, these colors with the cupcakes on them. And this is how my block turned out. Interesting, huh? Because you see some colors in there that aren't on here. So let's talk about this one. Is it's supposed to be this color here, which is marigold. So see, we had marigold in this one. And we had marigold in this one. I was lucky I had two different fabrics that would work with that color. However, if I hadn't and I only had one of these, I would have used that fabric on both blocks. Or maybe I wouldn't have used that fabric because I have 5 colors to choose from. And I have the light, the medium, and the dark. So I could do pretty much any combination. And then this one up here is kind of a real combination of these two aquas, the dark and the light. And then this one here called Dusty Purple, really good match with that. Now, here's the one that you might think, huh, how did that go in there? Do you see in there? Obviously, there's green, lots of green in here, but look in the flowers themselves. Again, it's those two colors. They're all over in there. And because this is kind of a yellow-green background, it goes really well with these other colors. So in this case, I chose a color that you might not choose instantly, but if you think outside the box a little bit, or if you look at it and you go, whoa, I really like how that looks, then feel free to do that. And so this was my cupcake quilt block. I like how it turned out. I think those colors look fantastic together. All right, so those were the colors. We're going to choose our blocks here in a little bit, but before we do, I want to talk about this idea of special blocks. I got something to share with you here. Oh, I did want to show you this. That's what you're looking for out on the website when you go to get your mini bloom quilt. Okay, this is the quilt for March. That's the pattern post that you're looking for, in case that's helpful. Some folks asked me, could I show what it looks like when they're looking for it on the website? And that is what it looks like out on the website. All righty. Now I want to show you, I want to share with you a single block. Okay. Our easiest quilt ever, as we think about it, you might be thinking, oh, we're going to do rows of these 4 patches that we're making, but we're not. We're actually going to make larger blocks, because by making larger blocks, we will have an easier time of matching things up. our length. When you sew in rows, things tend to adjust themselves at the end, and sometimes it can throw off all of your matching seams. And so if you make things with bigger block segments and then bring those blocks together, you have a much easier time with matching and things like that. So that's part of what we're doing in this quilt. And so we are going to end up making these bigger blocks. These bigger blocks, now you can write this down if you want to. Each larger block is going to end up being 25 by 25 inches. Is that right? Yes, that's correct. Had to do a little calculation in my head. Remember, you guys, if you have any questions, just pop them in the comments and I will be glad to answer them. So this is, each of these blocks are going to end up being 25 by 25, and then they'll come together to make the quilt. So each one of these larger blocks will have four of the 4 patches. Okay, so you might want to write that down, 4 patches. Then we're going to end up, we started making our little 2 square sashing pieces. So those are just made in white. So we'll have 4 of those sets in each larger block. But look in the middle. That middle is where we would put a special block. And I'm going to show you why it will come together in a minute, or how it comes together in a minute. But that special block, it can be a single color fabric that you choose, or a single patterned fabric that you choose. But that is the perfect place. My hair is driving me crazy. Hang on. It's just going to have to blow a little past me on the side. That is the perfect place to put your fussy cut block that we talked about last week, because that is going to then pop out. It's going to be the showpiece of this whole set. So we are going to end up needing 18 special blocks. So a special block, you're still using the 5 by 5 block size we've been using, but you're either going to make a solid color choice, or a print, the same print that you like choice, or what I hope you do is you're going to end up fussy cutting them to put in this center here. Now, I know there's a question out there that says, what if I don't have enough of the same fabric to fussy cut all the same pieces for 18 special blocks? Not a problem. You do not have to put the same fussy cut design in every one of these. You can choose 18 different things to fussy cut. If you are giving your quilt a theme, you might want to find fabric that goes, all the fussy cuts might be different, but they're the same idea, the same theme. Or you might want to just, since this quilt is so scrappy, you might want to continue to go completely scrappy and choose different types of fussy cuts from all different kinds of fabrics just because you love them. And that quilt is going to end up being so glorious, you guys. You're going to love it in the end. Just by replacing this one middle block in this bigger block with something that is a little bit special, the fussy cut. Now, let me show you. I'm going to go ahead and show you the big layout for this. I'm not giving you all the information on what you need to make yet, because we're not there yet. We're still making our 4 patches and things like that. But do start making your 18 specials. You need 18 special 5 by 5 squares. Single color, single, the same print, or hopefully 18 different fussy cut blocks. And if you need a reminder, you can go back and check last week's live. Well, actually, there's a whole demo video out there called It's Okay to Be Fussy. Something like Fussy's in the title. Watch that if you need a little update on how to do a fussy cut. So I have one more to bring up here. Here it is. This is our layout of the quilt, and I have it blown out so you can kind of see how things are going to end up coming together. But see all of these dark red squares, and obviously these, my colors are all repeated the same because I didn't want to do all those little color chips in different colors for the example, but our quilts will all be different colors, right? So all these dark reds. So look, we're going to have our special blocks in our cornerstones. Special blocks, fussy cut blocks look glorious. Like I said, in our little bloom quilt, they will make this quilt in the end. We could just do a single color border all the way around, all the way up and down. And you can do that. And if that's how you feel comfortable at this stage in your quilting, please, by all means, go ahead and do it. Your quilt will still be glorious. But if you're ready to take that extra little step, that extra leap forward and add something special to the quilt, then all 18 of these little red squares are going to be where you're going to put that special block. And you can see it adds something special to the large block here, but it also adds something very special to the sashing and the borders. Now, I'm going to throw something into the mix here. This is a tip for those of you that have been quilting for a while and are like, let's throw caution to the wind. If you don't feel comfortable with this as a new Build-A-Quilter, don't worry about it. There's plenty of times, plenty of quilts in the future where you can try this. Put your fussy cuts in these big blocks. So that would be 2, 4, 6 of them. So 6 of the special blocks you would fussy cut. And then for all the border blocks and sashing that are red, choose a different solid color or a different print. That would really, I mean, that's kind of how you build a quilt. Building a quilt. That's how you build a quilt to make it completely and utterly your own. And if you buy a pattern, look at your quilt, that quilt this way. You might want to make the quilt exactly the way it looks, but don't ever be afraid to say, I love the generalness of this quilt, but I want to add something special to it. Then you look for points like centers, cornerstones, centers to break up sashing or borders and sashing. Those are the points you want to look at for adding your special blocks to make your blocks truly uniquely your own. Okay. And that's what we're going to do here. So 18 of them, either all fussy cut, all a single color, all a single pattern, or 6 fussy cuts for these big blocks we're making, or and then something else, a solid or a different print for all the red ones in the sashing. So 6 minus 18, so you would make 12 different ones to do all of these red squares and 6 fussy cuts to do that. That's taking it to like the most advanced level. Still the simplest quilt you'll ever make because it's all 5-inch squares. But what this takes, how this takes it to that upper level is that you guys are now truly becoming your own quilt designers. So I want to know now in the comments, please, any questions about this? Anything, are you confused about anything? Because I want to move on and bring up Sue's lovely folded star mini quilt from last week, because I want to talk to you about how you could do this same idea with that mini quilt. And her her picture is the perfect way to do that. But if you have questions, please pop them into the comments. All righty. So now I'm going to bring up Sue's picture again. Okay. Sue, again, this just is glorious. It's so pretty. It's just so very pretty. Sorry, I'm a little without words. I just love it. I think it's really gorgeous. But I want us to look at this for a moment. So before we take a look at that, I want to bring up a single. This is one of the single folded star blocks from that quilt, right? If I were just looking at this block, somebody tell me in the comments where you think I could do a fussy cut. This is your quiz for tonight, guys. Where would you put a fussy cut on this block? Let me know in the comments. I'll give you time because we've got good. Linda, are you talking about the mini quilt or are you talking about our easiest quilt ever? Which quilt are you talking about for size, dear? Let me know. Somebody guess. Somebody guess, where would you put fussy cutting? Because truly there's no wrong answer, but where do you think a good place to put that special fussy cut block would be? You're right, Linda. Right there. Whoops. Right there. It's beautiful as that 8-point star, right? But what if that 8-point star had a beautiful, tiny little singular flower in there? Or whatever you wanted to put in there. We talked about this last week. There are a lot of fabrics that have small, what I call small portraiture pieces. Perfect to go in a small square like that. Then that takes this quilt and completely changes it, completely changes the design idea of it. That's when you, and trust me, there's no wrong there, but you are then the designer. You've taken something and truly designed it to be your own. Let's see, Linda says the folded star quilt. Linda, this quilt finished is the larger size and it's 27 by 27. Okay. When it's finished, it is, Linda, it's part of the Quilt Lab subscription, which I think you're a Quilt Lab subscriber, so you should have this pattern. So it finishes 27 by 27. Okay. Now, would you put the fussy cut in just one block or in all of them? So I think you're talking about here on Sue's quilt. Let me bring up the picture so I can, yeah, okay. So here's the deal with what you could do with Sue. So we know you could fussy cut in all 4 of the centers of the main blocks, correct? That would work out, right? What if you, instead of putting it in the folded stars, what about putting 3 here and 1 here and 1 here? So you would have 5 of them and you would have fussy cut blocks right there. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Sue says you're adding a border around the outside. Oh, Sue, I can't wait to see it. It's going to be great. Oh, I can't wait to see what you do with it. Linda says, yes, I'm working on it. I can make it bigger. Yes, you can make it bigger. You can take and just use, hang on, let me come back to there. Let me come back to the main one. So if you do just this block over and over and over and over again without the sashing, you could make it big that way. Or you can do it with the sashing and treat this 27-inch piece as one big block and then make several of those and put it together and make it as big as you like. Absolutely, you can. But what I love about this with Sue's quilt here, if she wanted, she could she said she's doing a border. If she put cornerstones on there, she could do fussy cuts in the cornerstones if she wanted. But I think it would also be lovely to do a cornerstone right here in the middle, because right here in the middle, that little star kind of ends up looking like an X a little bit to us. But if you have something right in the middle that is fussy cut, then that pops that out a little bit more. Or you could do one here and in all 4 of the folded stars themselves. You could put fussy cuts in every one of those little squares if you wanted to. That would still be glorious. It might end up being a little much, but you could do it. Now, you could do this. You could make the center star. The center star in this folded star is kind of the special space, right? It's kind of the special sauce of this quilt. So we've made all of these with the light flippy corners and the white square and the light to match on the inside. What if you do this? What if you do the flippy corners and the square to make the little heart or to make the little star, different fabrics in each one of those squares? You're not talking about fussy cutting anything, but you're taking that special spot in the quilt and really making it something new and something individual, something unique. Let's see, I hope to get it made for one of my grandchildren's birthday. Linda, you're a good grandmother. Oh my gosh, that granddaughter is a lucky child. That's going to be, she'll have that quilt forever. She'll love it. Sue, good idea. Oh, thanks, Sue. So you could do that, or you could do all of your centers of the folded stars the same, but all of these sashing stars could be different. So when you see a quilt, what I'm trying to get at, folks, is when you see a quilt, try to find that special sauce. What about that quilt is special? Is that special spot in the quilt something that you can change up to make it uniquely your own? Because let's face it, we don't want all of us to have the same quilt, same fabric that looks the same. I mean, we could. There's nothing wrong with that. But as you move in your quilting journey, as you become more confident in your quilting journey, and I hope these types of demonstrations help you with that, you'll want to start trying new things. You'll just automatically, before I started Build a Quilt, because you guys know I've been quilting forever, when I started quilting I guess it's been about 20 years ago now, I never looked at a pattern the same as it was. When I looked at a pattern, I always instantly started thinking about how I could change it to make it uniquely my own. And you can do it too, because it's just this easy. Just changing little blocks into something with a different fabric, a fussy cut, changes it up completely. Linda says that is where the color sheet would come in handy. The coloring sheet, yes, absolutely, Linda, for sure. Your coloring sheet, that would definitely come in handy, because then you can color in your different colors where you want them. See if you like how they go together. Absolutely. Do we have any questions about this idea of putting something special in our special blocks in our quilts? I hope that you understood what I was talking about. And I know you guys, I know you are brave enough to take that step and add that to our Easiest Quilt Along Ever. I know you can do it. I have complete and utter faith in you, because you're not changing what you're making. You're still making that simplest square. You're just adding something else. And remember, you are the quilt artist. You can do anything you want. There's no judgment. It's all beautiful. And if you love it, that is truly all that matters. All right, so that is our special block demonstration for tonight. I hope that's helpful. Are you guys ready to pick our color blocks for next week? I've got 4 cards. We need to pick 2 of them again. So this week, try to get started on those 18 special blocks, whatever you've decided you want to do with them. And then we have 2 new 4 patches to make. Okay. So these, if you've got your color cube, this is from color cube 2, 278. This is the coral reef. That's what we're going to call this. I thought this was really beautiful. Usually with a coral reef picture, I see a lot of greens, but this one had a lot of blues and things in it. So these colors, starting over here with this blue, is called sky blue, Bondi blue, and we've had that before in some of our other blocks. Steel blue, steel blue. This one is salmon. That's a very deep salmon. That's like a coho salmon. Yes, I actually know what the meat color of a salmon looks like. When you live in the Pacific Northwest, as long as I do, you learn what salmons are what. So it becomes a thing. So that is like a deep salmon. And this last one here is called Flame. And Flame, let me look at that under the light. Yeah, this is a kind of a tomatoey red, a kind of a flamey red. Okay. And Flame, yeah, kind of a bright orangey red. Very pretty color. So that's $278. This one, donuts. I've not had a donut in so long. Those look so good. I mean, like years I've not had a donut. Let's see. These are very pastel, except for this darker color up here. So let's start down here. This one is called Peach. Was that in this other one too? Yeah. So in this one from this week, that was Peach. It's the same color in this card, Peach. I think it's very much a light gold color, to be honest. Hot Pink, that's very much a bubblegum pink, right? It's very bubblegum. Ghost White. So Ghost White, so when you think of a bright refrigerator white, it's like a glaring white. Ghost White, think of the whitest white with just like one single drop for a whole wall of black in it. It just gives it that you're just not quite sure. There's something not white, but white about it. That's that color right there, Ghost White. This one, turquoise, that is a true turquoise color. This one up here is Steel Blue. The dark color here version, I would say yes. I would, but this looks very dusty purple, deep dusty purple to me. I'm trying to tell you what it says and what you can use. And I think you would definitely get along with a deeper dusty blue purple there. Okay. So that's number 379, the donuts. It's time to make the donuts. Now this one, I thought this one, and I truly picked these at random. And when this one came out, I was a little, but we're going to call this one Golden Roses. Isn't that picture unique? I'm guessing these are roses that have been dried or something, but that picture is so unique. But we're going to call it Golden Roses. They're calling this burgundy. Do you guys know the candy called Boston Baked Beans? They're like little bitty, they look like little bitty Boston Baked Beans. I think they have a peanut in them and like the hard candy shell. This is a Boston Baked Bean color, but they're calling it burgundy. It's a very brown burgundy. The next one over, they're calling this caramel, however you pronounce it, caramel. It is a caramel that's about to burn. Can I just say that? It's a very dark caramel. This one again, gosh, this one keeps popping up. This is Marigold again. We just had that one this week. Marigold. Why not? It's a beautiful color. This one is being called Mimosa. Now, I think of Mimosa as more of a peachy color. This is more of a mustard yellow to me. And this very final one here, they're calling it just yellow. This is a very greenish yellow. Okay, so that's $262. That is so unique. That would make it beautiful. Like if you did a whole quilt in those colors, that would make a beautiful quilt. Or if you're someone who likes primitive fabrics, do you know what they call primitives? Those colors are very much in that genre of fabric. Pretty. And then the last but not least is 321, and we're going to just call this one, I guess, Sugared Citrus. Wow, these are kind of some bright colors, but they're pretty. So these are like blood oranges and some interesting fruit in there. I'm not sure what all those are. So we're going to start right here. This is Scarlet, and there we go. It's a true scarlet red. Absolutely true scarlet red. This one they're calling Peach. Where's that other one that they called Peach? Is it the same? It is not. Now, this is interesting. This peach in here, they have the color numbers on the back of these cards. This peach and that peach are not the same. This is like a peach when it's like a very golden going into that pinky color. Peach. It's kind of a deep color. This one is plain old silver. This one is hot pink. I would say bubblegum pink, but yes. This one they're calling raspberry. Is it? Yes, I suppose if I look at it, it's a bright red raspberry. It's not a deep raspberry. It's a very bright raspberry. And then this one on the end, again, they're calling burgundy. Did I already say that one? No, that was from. So there is a burgundy, that one right there that I said looked like Boston baked beans. Yeah, those numbers are different. Those are two completely different burgundies. That's more of a burgundy than the other one is. The other one is way more brown. All righty, so I'm going to hold these up. 321 frosted, we'll call it sugared fruit. Coral Reef, 278. Gold Roses, 262. And donuts, 379. Those are your numbers. Go ahead and vote. You need to pick two colorways that you liked. Okay. Let's see. Can I hold these up so you can see the colorways and not the pictures as much? There we go. Those are the colorways. Go ahead and vote. Pick two. 379, 262, 278, 321. And then we are going to actually be done for the night. We're going to get done way on time. Yay. Oh my goodness. Those are your colors. These remind me of like the sprinkles that you put on donuts, right? That's kind of that one, 321. Golden Roses, Coral Reef, sugared fruit. Sue says 278 and 262. Ooh, Coral Reef and Golden Roses. Those are nice. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, this one definitely reminds me of sprinkles, like donut sprinkles, which I have not had a sprinkle in so long. Oh, gosh. Sprinkles weren't a big thing when I was a kid. They must have become more of a thing like in the 90s and the 2000s, but back in the 60s and 50s, we didn't do sprinkles very much. Those are, any more voting? If not, Sue, you have picked for us tonight. Nobody else? Okay, that's fine. We will go with these then. 262 Golden Roses and Coral Reef. Those are our colors for next week. Thank you, Sue. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'll put these, the picture of these up on the community board here on the website tomorrow, and I'll send out, I try to send out an email. You voted, Linda? It didn't come through, dear. I'm so sorry. I'm looking at all the comments here. It did not come through. Let me look at another spot and see if for some reason it's I don't know why Linda. Oh, Linda, it was the same as Sue's. Okay, good. Woo! I feel better. But I'm sorry, Linda, your vote did not come through for some reason. I'm sorry, but I'm glad you picked the same ones. That's all right. We're all good, right? We're all friends. We can all go with the things one another that we like and stuff. That's good. All righty. So don't forget about this month's mini quilt. We will be talking about the finished quilting here. Well, in another couple weeks, we'll be talking about it. But it's time you can go ahead and do it. I can't wait to see the colors that you guys choose for the bloom. And I'll think about doing some other blooms for us in the future too. Those are our cards. And then think about for your easiest quilt along, your special blocks. Remember, a total of 18, 6 fussy cut and the other 12 are for border and sashing. All fussy cut 18 or all 18 can be a single color or fabric. Okay. Alrighty. Thank you guys so much for being with us tonight. We are getting done on time. If you need to contact me, of course, support@sewincommon.com, and I'll get right back to you as soon as I possibly can, usually within a few minutes. If you need to find the patterns, www.mybuildaquilt.com. That's our website. Do I have another comment coming in? Happy quilting to you too, Sue. Happy quilting, my friend. Absolutely. Until next time, everybody, if you're new and you're just joining us tonight, please subscribe, like, and share. That's how our group has grown so much. And we have such a lovely group. We'd love to have you as part of our community. So I appreciate that very much. And until next time, everybody, of course, go quilt life beautiful. I'll be over in the comments for a moment if you have anything you want to send me over there. Bye for now, everybody.